Hey everybody, this is Noah back for episode 30, the big 30 of my thought bubbles. In case you're new, welcome in. This is a series where I kind of just document all the things that I think about on a weekly or daily basis. If you've been here for a while though, congrats for making it this far. I know I talk a lot, so and like these episodes aren't like super short. So I know it's like kind of hard sometimes to sit down and just hear me discuss something for like 15 minutes, but like if you're still here and you've been here from the beginning, hats off to you. Um this episode is kind of more so of like a I guess just like a life blurb. Um I don't know. Usually like how do I put it? Like when I make these episodes, I kind of have like an idea in mind. So I'll kind of be like for example, let's say like I want to talk I like let's say I want to talk about like football or something like that, right? Like if I want to talk about football, I'm like, okay. I kind of like think about beforehand like maybe like one or two things that I kind of really want to hit on. So like let's say for example the Bills are winning the Super Bowl this year or something, and I think that Lamar Jackson is going to win the MVP. Like that's kind of like how I'll angle it and then be like, okay, I kind of have these ideas of like roadblocks I want to hit, but I don't really have a roadmap of how I'm going to get there. So I kind of just like go for it. But today is more so loose. I don't really have like an idea of like what I want to talk about. It's more so just kind of like an overall life update. One, because I think it's a milestone episode. So it like feels right to have it now. And also at the same time, I think like I'm at a part of the year where it's like we're 2/3 of the way through the year. It is currently August 1st or August 3rd actually when I'm recording this. I guess like I just want to kind of recap all the stuff that's happened so far. I guess first off with this channel, I'm kind of like just happy with where it's at currently. I think 2 episodes a week was kind of ambitious. I don't know if it's like super ambitious, but like based on my schedule, it's kind of like, if I work 40 hours of the week and like even if I sleep deprive myself, which I already do and really shouldn't, which we'll get into later, I feel like 2 a week has been pretty like generally like schedulable, I guess is the right word to say. Like having 2 episodes a week, I feel like it's kind of like a good schedule, and like I kind of got into the groove, and like it's kind of nice to see because I think I've talked about it probably at some point before, but like I think there's been a couple of times where like I feel when I've got into something that like if it becomes monotonous or whatever, or like I get into a habit and a rhythm, then I kind of just like tune it out or like give up on it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like so I'm happy at least that I'm still here and making these, which is kind of nice because I think also what's helping me like stay consistent is not just like the actual like act of making it and like putting it out there, but I think it's also like nice as like a cathartic sense, which is how I imagine this episode is going to go down of like when I have something that I want to just like get off my chest and like I'm not really sure who to talk to about it, and like I don't really want to be like, hey mom, how's this going, or like ask a friend because I know everybody else is busy too, right? I know it's not an excuse because it's like, your friends will back you, and if you want to talk about something they'll be there, but it's like, sometimes I think there's some times where it's like I know they're at work and I don't want to like make their day worse or like be too much of a pain, so it's kind of like a half and half, but like I think these are like ideas kind of like not important enough to bring up, but important for me enough for me to care, if that makes sense. So it's been nice to kind of have like some sort of medium like this in like video essay format where I can just kind of like sit down and discuss things and think about it and like, not be afraid of opinions, I guess. Is that make I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of like how I view things, at least for this channel. So I think in the future, at least I kind of want to keep doing 2 a week, at least until I hit 50. Maybe when we hit like episode 50, I'll like reconsider it because during that time I have actually a lot of trips coming up. I have one trip that's gonna come up. Basically, they're basically gonna come up like one after the other. Like one's gonna be in like November, and the other one's gonna be in December. So I'm gonna try and like pre-record some things for those weeks just so like I don't have to worry about it and then just like schedule the uploads, which is what I normally do for when I'm out of the house cuz I can't really do that, you know. But it's going to be nice. I think I had a rough trip to start the year. Um my company had decided to go to Vegas, and long story short, uh I was not a big fan of it. It was I think the best moments were when I was just hanging out with like my parents who ended up going and my grandparents, and that was like the best part. I mean, it was just everything. I caught it like a stomach bug on the trip. It was just bad. But I think like I'm someone who like I'm not a big like travel person. I think I think I enjoy travel, but not like I got to go travel somewhere like every month. You know what I mean? Like I'm okay with like maybe a couple vacations a year. But yeah, very excited to go because I think so. One of the trips we're going to is Vegas, which is always fun, especially during like NFL season and sports season, especially. So that'll be fun. And then the plan is currently it's still in the works, but hopefully go to Japan in December, which always a big fan of going to Japan. So never gonna complain about that. It is expensive though, which is like kind of one of the things that like I've been struggling with more so now these days, which is like I don't know if life direction's the right word to say, but like I have like this like feeling in my heart of like I want to do something. And like what I'm doing now is good, but I'm like missing something. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like that like I don't know how to describe like when you go on a trip and you like are going to the airport and you have that feeling that you're missing something even though you have like you know you packed everything. That's kind of like how I feel. Is like I feel like I'm in a good spot. I have like a good career. My friends are good, you know, like I'm just kind of like enjoying life like as I am, but it's like I feel like there's just like something in my like something that I'm missing, and so I'm trying to spend a lot of time just kind of like with myself thinking about it of like is there something that I'm like trying to that I've like blocked myself off from, you know, cuz it feels like that. It's almost like I'm like subconsciously blocking myself off of like what I actually want, and I'm not actually I'm like missing it, you know, and then like in the process of me thinking about it, I'm just overlooking it because like, you know, it's just like kind of like a I've conditioned myself to think, oh, like this will never happen, you know, or like why would I do this? When in reality that's actually like what I want to chase or like what I want to do, and which will bring me like more happiness. So taking some time to like think about that. I wouldn't say that like I'm like without direction because I feel like my life has like some direction, but it's like you know what I mean? Like I feel like there's something that I'm missing. So trying to work with that. I think it's hard because like um I had this talk previously about like how I feel like in my life a lot of times when like I tried to celebrate things or like celebrate wins that I was told basically to like chill out and be humble. I don't know if this is like an Asian household thing, but like I was always told like, you know, like chill out, don't like flex, you know what I mean? Or like even in like the smaller wins, just like work in silence type of thing. And it was like I feel like it turned my brain into like the basically just don't celebrate because you're gonna look cocky. And so what it ended up doing is like I feel like I overcorrected in a sense. And so now like instead of celebrating wins and like doing all of that sort of stuff, like I feel like it comes off as cocky and then like I automatically just kind of like shut it down. So like I never like celebrate the good things and only like focus on the negative things, which is also another episode on this channel. But yeah, I think that's kind of like where the source of everything has kind of come from in terms of like being I guess pessimistic. I don't know. Um but yeah, I think it's just something in my brain, in the mental. I'm just kind of like either shutting stuff down that I really shouldn't be because like that's what my heart truly wants to do, or you know, it's just gonna take some time. I think just like soul searching. But I think one thing that I've found helpful or like that I think has been nice is I've been trying to stick to reading a book every month. I think I've mentioned my rule before, which is like when I buy things off Amazon, I usually buy a book with it to like even it out, and then I'll read the book. So I've been trying to read like one book each month, and like some months have been better. I think I've averaged one. I think I've read like two in one month, and then another month I haven't read any. So think I'm averaging one. But like those books have been kind of nice just to like hear other perspectives and like kind of like be like, hey, why am I doing this? Like, or like this is the exact thing that I do, and then it's like, here's how you break it, and I'm like, okay. So I think those have been pretty nice just to read. Um, I don't know if it's a work thing, to be honest. Like, I enjoy what I do, but sometimes the people that I do it with are quite frustrating. If that makes sense, I feel like I know this isn't like how people mean to come off, but it's like I feel like it's difficult to how do I put it? It's just hard to start conversations. I feel like for me. I think part of it is on my end because like there's a lot of things personality wise that I think it just doesn't match. And when that happens, it's kind of hard to like be friends with them, Like I feel like it's harder to bridge the gap. And like, you know, um I think for me on my end, I'd rather just like keep my peace and just chill out and do my work, which is like rich because today was probably one of the most frustrating days I've had in a long time. If you can't tell, I'm very tired. I did not sleep much yesterday, and yeah, we're working on a new project, and it is quite frustrating to learn the whole thing. So after being kind of just dialed in for like 8 hours, 9 hours, I'm pretty fried. But like, I don't know, just people wise, it's just like I think part of my frustration comes from the fact that like a lot of them will preach like these values to me, or like the people in the company that like come from like this moral high ground when in reality you like showcase none of those things. I think that's the most frustrating thing because it's like, it feels very like, how are you going to say that this is like a core pillar of like your found like your like moral compass, and then like go back on it like literally 2 seconds later, like it doesn't make sense, and then like kind of sends the wrong message. I think that's part of my frustration. I think it's also like i I feel like it's just like an unrealistic thing that like everybody gets along, but like I don't know, I feel like part of the reason why it's frustrating is because like if I get this like weird like sense. I think a lot of it is like very negative thinking, but I have like this sense in my head that like I'm basically there for like what I can do and not who I am as like a person, which is like very negative and a very like negative over generalization, but it's just kind of like if I listen to the darkness in my brain talking, like that's probably what I'm thinking, like, and part of me wants to fix it, but like I spent so much of my life like trying to fix things that like if I know that we're it's just like incompatible in terms of like friendship wise, it's like hard to force, like I can't force relationships for people, and like, if all we're gonna be is just like acquaintances at work, then that's fine. Because I feel like I have like a good group of friends outside of work, which has been nice. I think a lot of us too. I think it's also been nice that like a lot of us are still trying to find our way. I feel like you always get told that like you got to figure stuff out super quickly, which is part of the reason maybe why I'm like kind of like stressed or like panicking, but it's like I'm only 23, like there's a lot of things to explore, a lot of mistakes to make, and a lot of lessons to learn, but like you don't have to have it all figured out like right away. I feel like there's just kind of like this innate voice in the back of my head that like feels like I'm behind, which might be something that I want to explore later, but like I feel like there's so much that I still have to learn, and like it's like scary but kind of like nice to know at the same time. Um so yeah, work has been whatever. Bowling's been nice. I signed up for a couple of leagues. The name of the leagues are kind of terrifying cuz like one of them says Vegas League and I don't know what that is, but like um I feel like I'm getting better. I'm like okay. I feel like there's a lot to learn too, but maybe it is bowling that's like kind of helping me like chill out a little bit, but I feel like I need to, for me, just be a little less self-critical a lot all the time, and like not try to rush through things. I think it's important to like take time to just like breathe and relax and then listen to kind of what I truly want to do and figure that out. But yeah, that's kind of like the life update long wise. That was episode 30. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit like, sub, do whatever. Um Make sure you're getting your hours in because I didn't. That's one thing. I got to get my sleep hours back up because if I'm going to be doing a hard work, got to have the sleep. So I got to sleep more. But if you would like to watch some other videos, maybe where I'm a little less tired, my full series of the thought bubbles so far, you can find up here. I'll just throw a little blurb up there, and then you can sub by hitting that button if you like. But hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I guess thanks for watching for 30 episodes, or maybe just one. Who cares?